Hi guys, this is Peggy with I'mLosingItToday.com, and I am so excited today. I have got Darla, and could you pronounce your last name?
DeMorrow, Darla DeMorrow.
Darla DeMorrow with us, and she is a professional organizer. She is a member of the NAPO, which she just told me is the National
Association of Productivity and Organizing
Professionals. A mouthful, probably more than and also an APPO member. And she is the owner of Heart Work Organizing, LLC, since 2005, I read. And she has a husband and 2 kids. And if you get her book, it says Imaginary Cat, but she just got a cat 2 weeks ago.
Got a kitty cat.
So it's not imaginary anymore. So, but I just happened to come across her basically on the internet, and we started talking, and I looked through her book. She sent me her book through a link, and I just loved your book.
Thank you.
It was talking about being organized and decluttering your home, but it seemed like it went a little bit further than that, because you can you have to get to the root of what the issue is, as far as that goes. I mean, that's one reason why I just really liked your book. So the name of her book is, and I just wrote it down.
Okay, it's kind of long, so I'll read it.
Okay.
It's Organizing Your Home with Sort and Succeed.
Okay.
And the subtitle is 5 Steps to Stop Clutter Before It Starts, Save Money, and Simplify Your Life.
Oh, and don't we all want to do that? Especially this time. I thought it would be great in January to have you come on, because I'm actually doing that right now. I said, you can't go to my basement right now.
Organizing is one of the top 3 New Year's resolutions, and actually I just saw an ABC poll from last year that it was number 2.
Number 1's got to be losing weight.
Yeah, getting fit.
Getting fit's number 1. That's mine every year.
Which the funny thing is, usually it's getting fit, getting organized, and saving money. And the funny thing is, if you get organized, you can actually do all 3.
All 3, yeah, because when you want to lose weight, to me, anytime that I've tried to lose weight or anything is preparation. Mm-hmm. You have to have the food in your home. You have to prepare it. You have to, look at your menu, and it's all preparation. And to me, having a clutter-free environment, it's less stress.
Right.
Stress causes weight. And getting enough sleep, if you don't get enough sleep, that can cause you to retain weight. Yep. And if you're less stressed, you're going to sleep better. Right. So it all kind of goes in together.
Well, and if you're stressed and you're tired, you don't want to take the time necessarily to have fresh things in your refrigerator and in your pantry. And that's when we make bad decisions about what we're eating. Absolutely. So the more stressed and the more tired we are, we're not organized, so we go for the cheap calories.
Yeah.
And that's when we get into trouble.
Yeah, and that's what, I've been trying to do, my shakes in the morning, that kind of thing. But anyway, so today we thought that the first thing we were going to talk about is how to refocus from decluttering and instead stop clutter before it starts.
Right.
And so what is some tips on that for us today?
Well, that's really what I want people to get out of my book. And, if anybody works with me, of course, we work on organizing as a project. So we do, in fact, go into folks' homes where, you and I think are both on the other side of 40, right? We have a saying that
way on the other side of 40 for me.
But we have a saying in the industry that people spend the first 40 years getting things and acquiring things and setting up their home, and then we spend the next 40 years getting rid of things. Mm-hmm. And that's often true. It doesn't have to be true, but when when you're on that other side of 40, we are going to be decluttering.
Yeah.
But that's not really where I want people to spend their energy.
Right.
When you get to the point of wanting to hire a professional organizer or getting your organizing act together, I want you to be learning how to make those decisions about not cluttering to start with. Right. And just something really simple. I went to my favorite store yesterday. I don't know if it's your favorite, Target,
Oh, yeah.
But I came home with a couple of bags. And the reality is, there were things I had to have. Mm-hmm. But the reality is 2 bags came in my house. That means at some point 2 bags are going to have to go out.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, at some point in I'm going to say my 30s, that reality hit me.
Right.
That everything I bring into my house has to leave at some point. And it's just physics, it's just math at that point. So it doesn't mean you're bad, or it doesn't mean that you're, you can't organize or anything like that. If you're sending things out the door, it's just a reality of the culture that we live in.
Right.
We are a consumer culture. So
Yeah.
But when you realize that the first time around, and boy, when you have kids, there's all this new stuff that comes in your house, right? All the baby stuff, and then they get older and they start making their own stuff.
And then the kids grow up, and then you become grandma, and then I noticed I bring the porter crib and all that stuff out
There's
again.
a whole new batch of baby stuff that comes in. So all of that, those things are, by and large, we'll say necessary or at least useful in our lives.
Right.
Where the problem comes in is when you don't make that sort of even exchange, and when the baby things come in and they never, ever leave.
Yes.
Or, every piece of art that your child makes comes in the door and it never leaves, even though you never want to see it again, So all of those things are just like things that you want to be aware of.
Right.
As you're on your organizing journey, because it does not matter how much decluttering you do. I know around Lent, there's very often a few people that will have a 40 days of decluttering or 40 bags of decluttering. And the idea is you get a bag out a day. Well, it doesn't matter if you're sending a bag out a day if you're bringing 40 in, right? So,
that's true. And I always heard too that if you don't wear something in your closet for a year, get rid of it.
Yeah.
And my girls were in a wedding years ago. My girls are 22 and 25, and they were young. I still have those wedding dresses hanging in my closet because they're really nice. But I'm like, they're cute. And I'm like, but what am I going to do with them? I mean, obviously, they were young when they had them. So I'm thinking, well, maybe I can hand it. And I remember reading in your book about keeping things in your home for handing it down. Right. We have a piano in there, and I wanted to get rid of it. And so I text my kids and I'm like, okay, I want to get rid of the piano. Does anybody want the piano? Well, my youngest daughter, I want it. And so I'm like, I got to keep the piano now till she gets her own place and gets the piano. But, that kind of thing. So I thought, that's true. We don't want to hold on to stuff because if you're going to hand it down, hand it down.
Right. Hand it down right away. One of my favorite stories in my own life is when my grandmother, before she got ill and at the end of her life, she and I were in her home, and I said to her, we were looking at the gallery wall, kind of like you have here, of all the aunts and uncles, and there was this really great picture of her when she was young, and I had always loved that picture. They're just, those vintage pictures are just so beautiful. And I said to her, when the time is right, I'd love to have that picture. And she went right to the wall. I was in my early 20s, and she went right to the wall, pulled it down, and handed it to me.
Wow.
And that is the kind of passing on that is so just, it's gracious.
Right.
It's graceful.
Right.
And it's not painful.
Right.
And those are the kinds of things. I mean, I've gotten to the point in my life where maybe you've done this too, but somebody will say, oh, that's a beautiful scarf. And I'll be like, here. And I'll take it off and say, here, it's yours. Like,
I haven't done that, but I think that's a good idea because I was just looking, I've got a ton of scarves up there.
Yeah, but I mean, if somebody admires it and they love it and it catches their eye, maybe they're meant to have it.
Yes.
It's like we were talking before,
right.
we're all connected in this, this way that maybe we don't always understand.
Yeah.
And maybe I was meant to have something for 5 minutes so that it could be yours.
Right. Yeah. And that's, to me, that's blessing someone else too.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Because little things like that, to be able to be a blessing to others, you're freeing yourself too.
Right.
And you're talking about your grandmom. I have 2 sets of china in this sideboard right here behind me. And I asked my girls, I said, you guys want my china? They're like, you getting rid of your china? I said, it sits in the sideboard. Right. If you guys want it, I'll pack it up. You can have it. And that is so not me. I'm like, oh, I might use it for a special occasion. I got 2 sets of dishes in there. 4 sets of dishes.
4 sets of dishes.
I don't need,
And and a lot of people are like that. And what do they eat off of? Paper plates.
Yeah, really. Well, we can't do that. My husband's like, a paper plate, really? But so if the girls want those dishes, I'm packing them up and saying you guys can have them because I'm way on the other side of 40. I'm at the age now where things in my home, I've got to start updating. And so some of the other stuff, I'm looking at it going, wow, that's so out of style. I've been married for 36 years. So, but get rid of the other stuff. And there's so many yard sale sites out there now. I don't know. I guess people still have yard sales, but there's if you go online, you can find yard sale sites. People post stuff all the time. I have a tendency to go on there. Oh, I could use that. No, you got to get rid of it.
Right.
So I am training myself now where I don't need to buy anything else. I need to get rid of what I have. And you just post it, put it on that yard sale site, make a little bit of money off of it if you can, or just take it to Goodwill, whatever.
Craigslist. Facebook has it's called Marketplace. It's relatively new.
Yeah.
And all of these places are great. You can, like you said, make a little bit of money. What people don't realize is, at least still at this point, we can also take the deduction on the taxes very often. If you're itemizing your household expenses or your expenses on your taxes, you can often make money off of that even by donating.
Yeah.
And, those donation sites, those thrift stores and places where you take things, that's where you put that stuff back into sort of a retail stream, and that's where the person who needs it is going to find it. If it's sitting in my basement,
it's not doing you any good.
It's not doing me any good. It's not doing the next person any good. So we were talking about entertaining angels a minute ago, and we'll talk about that again. Hopefully that's really big on that. But that is the same idea. If I'm keeping things that I'm no longer using, then it can't be blessing somebody else.
Yeah. And just to give you the heads up, she was talking about getting your deduction. I think on your website, you have a form you can download.
I do.
I saw that. I looked on her website, and if you go on your website and your website is www.heartworkorg.com.
You got it.
Ooh, remember that. But you can go on her website, and there's a form on there you can actually download, and it fills it out, and that helps you with getting your tax reduction.
Right. Tax deduction.
Yes. Sorry, reduction.
But,
we would love to get a reduction.
I wasn't even going to bring that up, but I am glad you did, because a lot of people make drop-offs during the year, and they think, oh, it's just a little here, a little there, no big deal. By the time you properly, and that's what the form is for, you properly document things and you take the receipt, it adds up to hundreds and thousands of dollars for a lot of people.
And you bought that, you might as well try to get a little bit of income. Right. But it's like you said, if you know somebody that's in dire need of it, donate it, and that's the quick way to get rid of it too, is just to donate it. And somebody out there, when we've had so many, people with floods and the fires in California, I'm sure there's people out there that can definitely use it.
Well, how many of us have an extra coat in the closet?
I got plenty.
And it's 32 degrees out there. There are plenty of people that need that coat.
You can donate. Yeah, I absolutely. Well,
and how many people have a coat from high school that they're not going to fit into anymore?
And talking about keeping your weight off, that's the only drawback is I've got coats in there. I actually wore one, and it had the shoulder pads in it to church one Sunday, and she goes, wow, that must have come out of the archives. And I'm like, oh, how old is this coat,
So maybe we're not going to wear that coat again.
I probably will not.
But if there's somebody, that's coming off the streets of Philadelphia and has no coat.
And it's a nice raincoat. It's a London fog coat. Yeah. But I'm like, well, it must be out of date. Yeah. But anyway, well, look, this is our tip from Monday. And we've got so many more tips coming up, but we're going to close this session out for today. I hope you guys got a lot out of it. It was a lot of fun. And you can tell this is a very thing I'm very much into. And I love to talk about organizational stuff. So anyway, I hope you will join us again on Wednesday, and we will talk about our next, pull something else out of the book, and we'll talk about that.
Absolutely. I'll give 5 steps to organize everything.
Oh, that's great. We need those 5 steps. Okay? Talk to you soon. Bye.